Get ready for anarchy in Atlanta. Violent Antifa thugs are calling for a night of rage against law enforcement tomorrow after police shot and killed a man because he started shooting at a state trooper without warning. Police say it was in self-defense. Cops were raiding an autonomous zone that was set up to protest a proposed law enforcement training center. The sickening call for violence was posted on Twitter but taken down. It called for, quote, reciprocal violence to be done to the police and their allies. But Georgia cops aren't backing down to the threats.
Acts such as arson, physical attacks on members of our community, focused intimidation of citizens, the use of explosives, and setting booby traps that have the potential of causing great bodily harm or could possibly maim are not acts of peaceful protest. They are criminal acts that destabilize communities and endanger citizens.
Do you think this is getting a lot of media coverage, Greg Gutfeld?
I was just thinking, you know, how all we hear about from the Democrats and the media is this invisible world of white supremacy. And yet Antifa is just out there doing whatever they want. And if you look at them, they're overwhelmingly white. They're misfits. They're miserable. And initially, the media had elevated them because they actually agreed with them, because they were anti-fascist. Remember CNN? I wonder, if anybody else had been saying this, it'd be viewed as hate speech. It'd be seen as a threat to democracy. But I think that the way the media still looks at this stuff, they've learned nothing from George Floyd. That this is not the voice of the oppressed. These are people who want to destroy society, right? So I think that, like, you would like to see this treated differently. The cops get more support. The media back off and say, you know what? Let's not bet on the wrong horse this time. That cost billions of dollars in damage, cost dozens of lives in the riots, and then thousands of lives with a crime epidemic. Maybe we should sit this one out and support the cops.
Yeah, it's a pretty big statement to call for mass violence against law enforcement and their allies, which is pretty much everybody.
So anarchists have been camping out in this park in Atlanta for a long time. They have one of these autonomous zones, and they're protesting the building of a police training facility because training police is bad.
They want less training.
Apparently. And also, the arrested Antifa terrorist, 22 years old, son of a millionaire from Maine, lived in a big house, sailed on the yacht, and now he gets to live in the woods. Look, they allow these nuts to live in the woods for way too long. And think about what is happening all across the country with homelessness problems. Let this be a warning. Don't allow these nuts to live out in the woods like this. Do something about it. The homeless problems everywhere. These people are, this is a choice. This guy is a rich kid.
I want them to live in the woods. Away from me.
Well, yeah, well, okay.
Well,
Let them get eaten by bears.
They're not just living in the woods camping. They're building tree houses and throwing Molotov cocktails at people, Judge.
You know, I thought this was over after the summer of 2020, these CHAZ and these autonomous zones. And I kind of read this today and I said, oh, my gosh, it's back. So now we've got people who really believe that a night of rage is appropriate, self-defense, reciprocal violence. You know, that's anarchy. That is total anarchy. We either believe in law and order or we don't. And by the way, don't you need a permit of some type, you know, to go into these places? If I want to camp out in the woods, or you have an RV, or you want to go camp out, you've got to have some kind of some permit, okay? Or else it's trespass. Get them the hell out of there and let them know who's running the place.
Why hasn't Joe Biden condemned the treehouse Antifa?
That's an excellent question.
Joe Biden has a lot on his plate.
He just shot a law enforcement officer in the gut.
It's mostly gelatin.
Unkind, and I don't think that much gelatin. Joe Biden has been very clear about violence. He's actually condemned Antifa, which is just like an unorganized mass of people who hate fascism and white supremacy.
Did he say it was an idea?
Well, no, I think that what he said, which was mirroring what Christopher Wray said, they had the FBI, that it is this loose organization of people, and people like to make it out as if this is super centralized, but it's not actually what it is. There are people in disparate locations from Atlanta to Seattle.
It's loose.
It's very loose.
So it's like the Proud Boys.
What? No, the Proud Boys is quite organized.
Oh, there you go.
Isn't it?
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
What?
You know
I don't even get how that's a trick that you made me stumble into. I think that's just all violence is bad. And what stuck out to me about the story is obviously the horror of this police officer being shot, but the disconnect between what's going on the quote advocacy front and how people feel about it on the ground. the police are popular. They're especially popular in places with high minority populations that want there to be more cops on the street versus less cops on the street. And you are right. If you're trespassing, that should be the charge. I think it's in Louisville, right, where if someone has a tent out, they just arrest you and they just take you in right away. And I think that they're going to have to start doing that in other places.
Right. Good.
All right. Didn't Joe Biden bail out Antifa
What?
in the summer of 2020?
No, Kamala did.
Kamala and Joe?
Kamala.
No,
Yeah, I
she
think
said
they
that you
did.
could donate.
Bail them out.
Donate to the Minnesota Bail Fund. Who do you think they were going to protect?
It's not anti.
Why are you defending the Proud Boys?
Do not do that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.